I was under the impression that the child was mine.
You want me to ask a 13-year-old child if the guy they call dad did DNA test and whether they saw DNA test results? Is that what you want me to ask him? The whole truth and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
Yes, sir.
I do.
This is a suit affecting a parent-child relationship. We have a non-agreed DNA uh, test request. The parties are divorced, but the child was not contemplated for during their divorce. The father obtained private DNA, which excluded him as the father, and he's requesting to have DNA through the state. Mother is not in agreement and would like to move forward, since the father did sign an acknowledgement of paternity before the private DNA test. So we'd like a ruling on the father's request for DNA.
Okay. Ms. White, have y'all done private DNA testing?
He did it outside.
Okay.
Julius
Did
did.
you exhibit him giving the sample or did he do that on his own?
He did it on his own.
Okay. And the child we here is Julius Nelson, was born in 2011, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. It looks like Mr. Nelson signed a acknowledgement of paternity in 2011, which was what, 13 years ago?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay. Okay. All right. So, Mr. Nelson, you did some private DNA testing
Yes, sir. I had a DNA test done maybe almost 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Yes,
Why
sir.
are we here 3 years later and you still haven't done anything to change your order?
What do you mean by changing my order, sir?
Well, you had a paper you signed in 2011 saying you're the dad. You signed that saying that you were the dad and you didn't have one DNA and you had no question, right? So why didn't you try to change that?
Honestly, I didn't know after I got the DNA test that I had to do any of that, Your Honor. I was ignorant to the fact.
Okay. How do we know that you're the one that did the test?
Um, we don't honestly. I mean, we can ask the child. That's all I can say, honestly, because he was living in my household at the time. So
You want me to ask a 13-year-old child if
no,
they
sir, I don't want you
think
to.
that
I'm just
they're
saying
the
that's the
guy
only
that
way.
I haven't finished my question. You want me to ask a 13-year-old child if the guy they call dad did DNA test and whether they saw DNA test results? Is that what you want me to ask him?
No, Your Honor. I was just saying that that was the only person that would be able to say that the DNA test was done by me.
Okay. Why haven't you done this sooner?
Honestly, when I first signed the acknowledgement of paternity, I was under the impression that the child was mine. There was some he say, she say from unreliable sources, which I was already in uh, process of marrying Miss White before I went to the military in 2011 also. So I just kind of went with what she told me. She told me she never never dated the guy, never had sexual relations with the guy. He had a crush on her. So I went with that,
Okay,
and
so
it
give me
didn't
a
come about.
okay.
Uh,
So give me a timeline here because I'm not understanding that part. So y'all were not married when this child was born, correct?
no,
And then when did y'all get married?
we got married. I went to the military that same year. Maybe I left for basic training maybe 20 days after he was born. Well, a
Okay.
month and 20 days after he was born.
So maybe
I
July
came,
2011.
yes, sir, July 26, 2011. I left for basic training.
Okay. You got married at that time?
I got married after I completed basic training and came home from AIT training,
When did you
which
get
was
married?
maybe we got married December 21st, 2012, I think.
Okay.
11.
11. Yeah, one of those. Yeah.
Okay. When did have y'all gotten divorced?
Yes, we are divorced now. It
When did
was
you get divorced?
finalized. It was finalized in
August the
August.
22nd.
I'm not asking you, Miss White. I'm asking Mr. Nelson.
It
All
was
right.
finalized in August, Your Honor.
Say that again. I didn't hear again.
It was finalized in August,
August of what year?
uh, 2024.
Oh, okay. And the divorce didn't include this child in the divorce decree?
No, it didn't, Your Honor. I was told, I presented the DNA test to my lawyers and I just kind of followed their guidelines, which later on I felt like they dropped the ball on it, but I
Did you
didn't
have an
know. And
attorney, or Ms. White had an attorney?
I had an attorney originally for the divorce. I hired an attorney when I filed for divorce.
Okay, so you would have had to have gone to court and they would have had to ask you a question about, were any children born of the marriage? Did that get asked to you?
She has 3 other children. I mean, she has 2 other children that was born during the marriage. They were included in the divorce, but not him because they said that he was born prior to the divorce. So he didn't have to be included.
So did they order you to pay child support for this child?
No, sir. She didn't ask for child support then. I was cleared of the other 2 children as well, which I obtained the ALP from their fathers. And the divorce was finalized with neither of us having to pay anything or just walking away clean.
When did you do your private DNA test?
That was around February. It was in February 2022.
So before the divorce.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Ms. White, let me ask you a couple questions. So you kind of generally agree with the timeline that Mr. Nelson has provided to me?
Yeah, for the divorce and the DNA, it's right before, it was 2020. Yeah, I agree, yes.
Okay. So were you represented by an attorney in the divorce?
I was not.
Did you go to the divorce hearing?
I did not go to a hearing, no.
Okay. Why was the child not included in the divorce decree, this child here?
I have no idea. It's something that I was new to as well. We had been married for like 12 years, and they just basically sent me over the documents saying if we agreed to basically have sole custody of my child, Julius. In fact, that was prior to. So I just really didn't know. I didn't know how it went. It was like something new for me.
Well, they didn't mention the child at all, did they?
No, and then I realized after the divorce was finalized last year in August. I was like, well, I saw my other 2 kids on there, but I didn't see his name. I didn't know if it was something normal or not. I really can't tell you that. So yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't include my baby, my oldest
That's
son.
very unusual. Because usually they would ask Mr. Nelson if what kids he had. They're born. And yours is kind of a confusing case because I guess this child was born a little bit before the time period y'all got married. But
Right.
okay. All right. So let me I mean, I don't like doing DNA on 13-year-old kids. I really don't. Because it just tells the kid a wrong story. And then maybe the kid is also bonded to a person as their parent. And then all of a sudden we got to turn around and say, you're not the dad, if that's the case. I don't like to do that. I don't think either one of y'all have handled that correctly. We should have done this years and years ago. At worst, you should have done it during your divorce. That's why, Ms. White, you should have hired an attorney. You should have gone to the hearing. Mr. Nelson, it sounds like your lawyer didn't do a very good job because they should have also included this child in your order. Even if it was just to say that you weren't the father, or if it was to say that you were the father and go ahead and setting you up for child support and custody and visitation. That's what should have happened. All of that, looks like there's been several chances for y'all to do something, and y'all haven't done your part on that. So with that many questions, I guess I don't like it, but I'm gonna go ahead and order DNA testing to be ordered. Since there's that question. What's our reset date, Ms. Atifi?
The 9th of April, 2025, 4/9/25.
All right, the Attorney General's office is going to send you information about where to go do your testing in the next couple of days by email or letter. And so y'all need to go do the testing. Then we'll return to court on April 9th on Zoom at 9 o'clock. You need to return for that. The Attorney General's office will be sending you information about the scheduling. If you don't get any scheduling information 2 weeks from today, then give the Attorney General's office a call. And we'll go from there. All right, y'all are done with court for today. you can press leave on the Zoom to exit out. Thank you.
Thank you.
When I had met the plaintiff, she was already pregnant, and she kept his real father out of his life for about 2 years. I just don't feel it necessary for me to have to pay support when his real father is seeing him consistently.